Hello, my name is Martine Rose and I'm a menswear designer from South London. How much determination do you need in the fashion industry? From my perspective, you need a lot. If for me, to have a sort of a sustainable long-term plan, there's a lot of sacrifices, especially in the beginning. I was still working in a bar, for example, when I was 32. I pretty much didn't pay myself for 9 years, and so it was a lot. But I did choose a long route. I didn't compromise on my vision, and I think that for me has served me better, even though the sacrifices in the beginning were a lot, and I didn't necessarily know it was going to work for a long time. So I would say a lot of hard work and determination and sort of faith in yourself is necessary. How did I pick my team? Most of my team have actually been with me for many years. They've all interned at some point or another. It's unbelievably important to have a strong team. Without a strong team, you're nothing really. I think you have to be really, really honest. Anyone, you can design, you can create anything copying anything else. You can try to be on trend, but trends change, and so that's a shaky ground to start on. It's the longer route, my route, or the route that I chose, but I think in the end it really pays off. You have to be really, really authentic with who you are and what you like, and that I think is timeless. You do has to be about something that is really real to you. Is there a balance to getting young and old into my brand? Not really. It's because it's not something that I ever set out to do. When I first started and I was doing loads of little business courses with the Prince's Trust and various things, they were always saying, know your target market, know your target market. For me, when I tried to aim it towards someone, it always went wrong because I was forcing it in somewhere that didn't feel. It felt fake. People are smarter than and it's like it wasn't me so much. So honestly, I just always did what I was into. I was stimulated by what I was stimulated by, and those references always come into my collections. I've never really tried to aim it to anyone, which may or may not be why it's got such a broad appeal, because like my little cousins can wear it, my uncles can wear it, my dad can wear it. So it's I've never really tried to target anyone specifically, but I think that everyone can sort of take something from it. There's a relevance across the board in sort of different bits. Something for everyone. My family, my blood family, they have been my inspiration from the very beginning. My cousins are the ones that got me into what I was into, looking at them, watching them get ready to go out. One was into reggae, one was into rave, one was into all of these things. I used to sit on the end of the bed and watch them get dressed to go out and just think, I just want to go out. I want to be a part of this world. So they're the ones that really were my first interest in fashion and music, and all of that came from my family. And then subsequently, since I've started, they've always been my core support, through everything. Even when I was making no money, really, really, really struggling, they always had faith in me and allowed me to have faith in myself. So, yeah. I mean, there's loads of things. The funny thing about getting older, as I've noticed, is you think that actually what you're into, I still are pretty obsessed with subculture and youth cultures, and you think that like as you get older your interests are going to change. Well, it doesn't really change. It expands to include other things, but it doesn't, the core of who you are doesn't really change. And I'm still really into those, like how people use fashion, or clothes. I don't really say that I'm a designer. I'm obsessed with clothing, because it's about why people wear the clothes they do, what they choose to show about themselves, how they wear it, even where they wear it, all of that sort of stuff. That is still me sitting on the end of my bed watching my siblings and my cousins get ready to go out. It's the same thing that I'm really excited by when I see someone on the street wearing a tracksuit tied in a certain way, or like what they choose to display about themselves. I'm still really inspired by. So yeah, that hasn't really changed. And there are people, I mean, it's so broad who I can be inspired by, you know what I mean? It's like, it's my family, it's interns that come in, it's like, it's so broad. Yeah, that's really hard. I'm not gonna lie. That was, you know what, it was really, really hard. There were so many times I wanted to stop, but I actually didn't know how to stop, and I didn't really know what else I wanted to do, because there was nothing else that I loved as much. There's other stuff that I'm good at, but there's nothing that I love as much as I love this. And I just, there was a really quiet little voice telling me to carry on, even though the louder voice was saying, this is just a really expensive hobby, which is essentially what it was for 9 years, which is a really long time. I mean, there were times when I was working at the bar and I was using the money that I was making there to pay people here. So I was literally, diverting money around me and paying other people with that money. I was lucky I could live at home, so I didn't have those. I was living at my mum and dad's, you know what I mean? So I didn't have those mad pressures that most people have, especially if you're not living in London or whatever. So that was a massive advantage, obviously. I couldn't have done it without that. But yeah, that was really hard. But then when it sort of started to change, when I started working at Balenciaga, when I started consulting there, and that's when the whole mood really shifted, and it brought really real attention. And that, it's easier to keep focused then, because finally you feel like you're being heard. The first one was when Demna from Balenciaga called me, and then we met. And probably the first day that I walked into the atelier in Paris, I was like, okay, right, now I've got to do something, and it's really real. And there were all of these sort of people expecting me to come up with the goods. That was a bit of a ping moment. Then I would say the last show in Kentish Town. That was a real, because that had the feeling that I wanted. That had exactly the mood that I wanted. And that was a bit of a ping moment. And I did a show in Seven Sisters Market as well. That was a little bit of a ping, so it was like I've had lots of moments. I would say a very condensed version in sort of the last 2 years. I've had successive sort of sort of growth, I guess, or those moments tied together. And then in the 9 years, there were bits where I knew that I was registering with some people, but I was still really niche. So I would get I'd get loads of people saying, where can I buy this, where can I buy this? And I would go nowhere, actually. Or this one shop in wherever it was. So it's not, it's a series of lots of little moments more than one big eureka thing. That's a really good question. I think my work ethic comes from my mum and dad, definitely. Yeah, I think it was it was definitely formed at home. I was never allowed a day off school. I wasn't allowed, there was no alternative. I had to be so sick to get off school. Then I think I'm really lucky to have found something that I actually want to get up and do. That's a massive motivator, you know what I mean? And I think when you find that, they say that if you find something you like to do, you never work a day in your life, and that's so true. It's so true, and that's it. That's it. It doesn't, I say it doesn't take much focus to do something you love. It does, of course, but in the same day, like, even when it was really hard, I never wanted to give up. So it's a combination.
I think your summer fashion show was really cool.
Yeah.
It's like all of us always telling me, that's so-and-so over there, he works for so-and-so.
Yeah.
GQ was still there.
Yeah.
But then even with like getting brands like Caterpillar, was it Caterpillar?
Timberland. Yeah.
Nike.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It doesn't come around every day.
Yeah.
To be someone.
No. Yeah.
Brands like that to even want to work with.
Yeah, I guess that was probably a ping moment in a recent in the sort of most recent incarnation of it was working with Nike. Everyone that I work with now has approached me. Yeah.
Thank you, Martine.
That's a pleasure.
I'm here today with family, someone who's very inspirational, Martine Rose, and I'm inspired by Martine, just to see like the progress of where you are now. We're all proud of you.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's just trying to see what it takes in any field of work, but to see the progress and to see the success that you've had up until this point is fantastic. And I just wanted to let you know that we're all proud of you, and we're all rooting for you to keep reaching to the stars and do what you do best.
That's nice.
Yeah?
Thank you.
All right, man. Well done.
I just don't feel right. I said my